News also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Prime Minister John Briceño is ordering sweeping changes to how government officials handle public procurement, announcing mandatory training for senior public officers and a review of Belize's procurement laws. The move comes as the administration faces growing public calls for greater accountability and stronger financial oversight following the Media Millions controversy. The directives were issued following a special cabinet meeting held on Tuesday, July 7, 2026, which brought together all cabinet ministers and their respective chief executive officers. The session focused exclusively on strengthening procurement practices and improving compliance with existing financial regulations. Senior officials, including the Financial Secretary, the Contractor General, and the Auditor General, delivered detailed presentations examining the country's procurement framework, common challenges, and strategies for improving accountability. Their presentations also highlighted recurring weaknesses identified through audits and emphasized the importance of stronger internal controls and better value for public expenditure. The Financial Secretary addressed the economic and fiscal importance of effective procurement systems, while the Contractor General outlined best practices, identified frequent procurement irregularities, and recommended measures to reduce waste and improve transparency. The Auditor General reviewed recurring findings from government audits and pointed to areas where ministries could strengthen oversight and compliance. Prime Minister Briceño described the meeting as an important step in the administration's broader efforts to modernize the public service and reinforce good governance. He said the initiative reflects the government's commitment to transparency, accountability, and strict adherence to procurement laws. Discussions during the meeting examined the provisions of the Finance and Audit Reform Act (FARA), the SOAR's orders, and related regulations as promised by Prime Minister last week.
First of all, on next week, Tuesday, I have asked the Financial Secretary. We're going to have the Financial Secretary, the Contractor General, and the Auditor General to come in to talk to Cabinet to explain to them the FARA, the Finance and Audit Reform Act, the store supply, the store control supply, and the financial orders. And during that presentation, I'm also bringing in the CEOs so that both the CEO and the minister have a direct understanding of what can be done. The following week, on the 14th of July, we are going to present a project that we have been working through my ministry to the Central Execution Unit. We're coming up with what we call a Central Procurement Unit. It is a project we've been working with the IDB and looking at how other countries have been doing procurement for the country successfully. In short, what will happen is that there's going to be a electronic window so that every ministry will be required or compelled by law that they have to put it there to the public. So if the BDF wants tenders, it has to go to the public. If they want to buy anything under 10,000, whatever, it has to go out there in the public to say we're buying. So there has to be openness and transparency and accountability. I think that that's going to transform things. But also, I believe that we'll be able to save money. Why do I say that? Well, because right now, different ministries buy from different vendors, and there's generally a 20% discount, and in many instances, the government does not get that 20% discount or 10%, whatever discount happens. And there are different layers of reporting. There's going to be a unit or a committee that sets the rules, then a committee that that reviews what is taking place, and then a third one that will be then doing the actual auditing that everything is going to be run. It is going to be a game changer in the way government procures its goods and services.
Ministers and chief executive officers also explored ways to improve compliance, simplify approval procedures, and reduce administrative bottlenecks that can contribute to delays, higher project costs, and procedural violations. Among the key decisions reached was the Prime Minister's instruction for the Ministries of Finance and the Public Service to work jointly with the offices of the Contractor General and the Auditor General to develop an ongoing mandatory procurement training program. The program will apply to ministers, chief executive officers, financial officers, and the senior procurement personnel to ensure consistent understanding and application of procurement rules across government. The government will also establish a technical working group tasked with reviewing the country's procurement laws and recommending legislative changes where necessary to strengthen safeguards against malpractice and improve the overall procurement system. According to the Office of the Prime Minister, similar high-level review sessions will be held throughout the public service as part of a continuing effort to promote responsible financial management, strengthen institutional oversight, and improve the delivery of government services. And as the Prime Minister orders sweeping changes to how government officials handle public procurement, fresh records obtained from the Ministry of Defense are drawing renewed scrutiny after revealing dozens of payments made to a company linked to the family of the ministry's chief executive officer, with many of the transactions falling just below the $10,000 threshold. The screenshots reportedly extracted from the government's Smart Stream financial system document 54 separate payments issued between April 13th and May 11, 2026, totaling nearly $500,000. The payments were made to Meat Masters, a supplier providing meat and fish products to the Belize Defense Force BDF and the Belize Coast Guard BCG. The business is located here in Orange Walk at the corner of Cinderella and Fonseca Street. Of the 54 transactions, 35 invoices were processed on a single day, May 11th, amounting to more than $300,000. Every payment remained below the $10,000 mark. That pattern is likely to invite questions about whether invoices were intentionally divided into smaller amounts, a practice commonly referred to as invoice splitting or structuring. While multiple smaller invoices are not, by themselves, proof of wrongdoing, such arrangements often attract scrutiny because they can circumvent approval thresholds or additional oversight requirements. Adding another layer to the story is the ownership of Meat Masters. Public business records show that the company was initially registered on December 12, 2022 under one owner, and then on April 16, 2025, another person of Orange Walk Town was added as a co-owner of the business. When contacted, Ministry of Defense CEO Francis Usher Jr. confirmed that one of Meat Master's owners is his wife's cousin. Usher said the company participated in this year's public procurement process and was awarded 2 tender lots to supply certain meat products and fish. When asked about the repeated sub-$10,000 payments reflected in the financial records, Usher maintained that the ministry simply processes invoices as they are received. Addressing the fact that 35 invoices were processed on May 11, Usher explained that the payments represented roughly 2 months' worth of meat and fish supplies for the BDF and BCG that happened to be grouped together for processing. He further stated that batching payments is a common practice for companies supplying military rations. At this stage, there is no evidence that procurement rules were violated, and the ministry maintains that the contract was awarded through an open and competitive tender process. As electric vehicles continue to reshape the future of transportation around the world, Belize is preparing its workforce to keep pace. Today, the Orange Walk ITVET campus officially unveiled the country's first ever electric vehicle laboratory, a state-of-the-art training facility that will equip students with the knowledge and hands-on skills needed to service and maintain the next generation of vehicles.
Belize has taken another significant step towards a greener and more sustainable future with the official inauguration of the country's very first electric vehicle EV laboratory at the Orange Walk ITVET campus. The state-of-the-art facility, funded by the European Union and implemented by the United Nations Development Programme UNDP, is expected to transform technical education by equipping students with the skills needed to service and maintain electrical vehicles. The initiative has been several years in the making, with the curriculum first developed in 2022. The laboratory features modern training equipment, including an electric vehicle issue simulator and an electric vehicle battery pack trainer, and even training on charging stations. These tools will allow trainees to gain hands-on experience diagnosing faults, studying battery systems under real-life conditions, and learning advanced troubleshooting techniques that mirror those used in today's automotive industry.
For example, so you control it. You can control it directly using the computer. It could be independent, but this is the ideal scenario. So both are connected, and you can actually visualize through the digital twin what is actually happening on a real system. Things you cannot see, obviously, on the real world, so you have to simulate it. So that's why this simulation system is the first bridge, I would say, between the traditional automotive training systems with the EV world. This is the electric vehicle battery pack trainer. Who talks about electric vehicles must deal with the batteries, okay? So this training system will help us also to make full study on the battery system, and also including fault systems into the batteries themselves. So the professors can insert some faults, and the students have to understand why, where, and how you have to fix it. So this training system here is very complete about the usage of the batteries. With a bit of imagination, that used to be a real vehicle, a complete vehicle. It used to be a car only a few months ago. Okay, so But how do you actually understand how an electric vehicle works? Well, you have to take the skin apart. So most of the part of the vehicle have here been implemented into a training system to lift or to expose all the major component of the electric vehicle. Okay, so you have the battery here on the right, and you have the engine here on the left, and all the controls here that you will find in your electric vehicle. So this one was a BYD vehicle.
So you want to start it just like a normal car.
And
Right away. It's on.
you will probably see those charging stations dotted all around in the country. So, but how do you make sure that they actually work all the time? Are they actually performing well? Do they supply the right level of power, of energy for the vehicles? If they fail, what happens? Who's going to fix those? So you have to have a training systems also for this purpose.
Program Officer for the EU, Elizabeth Lanzi Mozachini, described the inauguration as a historic milestone for Belize, noting that it aligns with the EU's commitment to promoting sustainability and supporting the country's transition to a green economy.
First of all, I want to highlight this is the most advanced electric vehicle laboratory in Central America and the whole Caribbean region as of now. So this means that Belize has an opportunity to really be the pioneer, set the standards for other countries and other communities. What do we hope? Of course, we want to see persons having the opportunity to access education and skills training to be prepared for some of the new emerging jobs that are starting to come forward and will be necessary with the progressive scale-up of the sustainable and modern transport system that the government of Belize is pushing forward as part of its agenda. So this is very important. It's about preparing those young people from the district and from all over the nation to be able to grab those new opportunities as well. So we're excited that the lab will be open to the public for the first intake of students with the new school year.
Zakina said Belize is leading the way in the region by investing in electric vehicle education, while encouraging more young women to pursue careers in green technology.
Well, sustainability is very, very important. So we are very proud to be the first friend and international partner of Belize to come forward as European Union to support this important area of promoting energy efficient, of course, climate solutions, energy solutions and transport solutions. And we really encourage other partners, other development partners, but also the private sector and investors to look at opportunities to support the development of the sector and to support the ITVET, because at the end of the day, public-private partnerships is the direction to go as well. Development partners come in with contributions, government plays its part, but the private sector has a key role to play to sustain the trainings as well. So definitely a facility like this is not going to be interesting only for, young students coming out of high school. It's going to be interesting for private companies that may want to upskill and kind of upgrade their own personnel that may have trained at school in the more traditional automotive kind of knowledge and skills. So here's an opportunity for various private sector entities to send their staff to also kind of as a continuous professional development opportunity to improve their skills as well and be ready to support Belize in its development. I think to all the girls and women out there, this is also for you. It's not just for the male. Of course, usually it's a male-dominated sector, but things are changing in many countries, so they can change here too. So calling out on all the girls and women out there to come and check out, these new training opportunities that the Orange Walk ITVET will be offering.
Thank you very much. As the implementing agency, UNDP says the project directly supports one of its key priorities in Belize, accelerating the country's transition towards low-emission transportation.
It aligns very well. We have two main portfolios, and one of them is on nature, climate, and energy. So this obviously, the whole purpose of this project is to provide low-carbon transportation in Belize. So it helps with reaching the national determined obligations, commitments in order to reduce the carbon footprint in Belize. Of course, we also want to help support providing safe and reliable clean transportation to the Belizean people who use public transport every single day, who rely on that to get to the office, to get home, to get to school, to get to do what they need to do. So that's a very important part of it as well. So it meets many of the different objectives that we have.
How does tying it into education actually, build on this?
Yeah, so of course, this particular event that we are having here today, where we are opening this state-of-the-art EV laboratory, is supporting the education sector in Belize as well. So we developed the curriculum for this training together with the Ministry of Education back in 2024, and then being able to give the opportunity to help educate young people in new technology, putting people on the front foot so you can grow with technology so it doesn't catch you, but you're on the front foot. So we're very proud of that.
And, the creation of such a laboratory, what kind of milestones does this actually meet in terms of what you've been talking about and some of the things that...
Now, this is a very important component of introducing electric vehicles in Belize. Sometimes we like to see the vehicles, we like to see the big buses, we might notice the charging stations, all these visible elements that we see out there, but they can't function if people can't maintain it, if we don't know how to run these things. So this is a central component of the project and of the success of electric vehicles in Belize, because if you just buy the vehicle and it needs some servicing or needs to break down, who's going to do it for you? You're going to send it abroad? I don't think so. So having trained Belizeans at a state-of-the-art center as this is a very important component of having electric vehicles work in Belize.
The new program, according to Orangewoc IT Vet Director Armando Gomez, will officially be offered during the upcoming school year, with spaces still available for interested students. He described it as a unique opportunity for young Belizeans to gain skills in an emerging industry that is expected to continue growing both locally and internationally.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say we are very grateful for this investment that has been given to the Orangewoc ITVET through the UNDP and the European Union. And this investment will propel the automotive department in our institution to greater heights to address more the industry needs. The automotive industry in our country is already advancing with electric vehicles. And what we are finding out is that we don't have enough technicians in our country to address these new technology. So by empowering our trainees with this new information, new skills, we will then be addressing a big void that we have in our country. And then we hear at times some people saying that we have electric vehicles in the country, but we have graveyards of electric vehicles. Why? Because we don't have the technicians to fix them. However, we want to address that need, and I am certain that at the Orangewoc ITVET, we will make it work. We will put this investment to good use, and the industries will be happy with the quality of the technicians that we will be providing through this training. And I believe the Orangewoc ITVET is continuously moving forward with assistance from international assistance, and we are so grateful for it.
Talk to us a little about how the actual program will work in terms of who will be able to form part of this trailblazing program. Do they need anything in specific? How will it work?
Well, first of all, we already have the instructors who have been trained. We have instructors that have been trained in Jamaica. We have instructors that have been trained in Taiwan. And now we also have instructors that were trained right here with the equipment that we just got. So we are ready to launch it, and I believe that the instructors will be able to give good quality training to the technicians that will be out there and be able to service these electric vehicles that we have in our country already.
The launch has also been welcomed by local governments. Belize City Council Representative Neil Hall says the council has already begun embracing electric transportation, with 2 electric buses now in operation. He adds that having locally trained EV technicians will provide the confidence to further expand the city's electric fleet.
We are actually very excited about this because what we have right now in Belize is a lack in terms of the skilled persons who can actually work on electric vehicles. in Belize City, we have 2 electric buses that every day are around the city, and when we don't have one up and running, it's a huge inconvenience and it's a huge painful experience for us as the managers, for us to tell people that you only have one bus to ride. We also have electric taxis, and we in Belize City have one of the largest electric municipal fleets in the country. So our Belize City Council actually has and operates electrical vehicles. So having this type of training will allow for us to have an actual group of trained technicians that will be able to work on electric vehicles, thereby reducing the amount of fear or concern we have regarding if we get more, how do we get it to work? If something happens, what do we do then? We will have people who are here who are trained by Belizeans in Belize, who are Belizean, who will be able to help us to move our project forward.
Reporting for Ctv3 News, Norma Ruiz.
The opening of Belize's first electric vehicle laboratory marks a major investment in both education and environmental sustainability, positioning Orange Walk ITVET at the forefront of preparing the country's next generation of technicians for the future of transportation. Coming up next, investing in the future of young Belizeans, the Rotary Club of Orange Walk announces its scholarship program. Stay tuned.
It's easy to sit at home and blame the government for crime. A lot of people do it. Politicians do it all the time. It's like a game. Gang members shooting each other or innocent citizens. Blame the government. Blame the police. Narco players executed because of a drug deal gone bad. Blame the government. Blame the police. Domestic violence turned fatal? Same thing. Every murder, no matter where, no matter why, same blame game. But our children weren't born criminals. When did they become murderers? Who taught them their values? Who taught them about right and wrong? Where are their parents, their families? It's not too late to save your child. It's not too late to raise your child right. Keep them in school. Keep them off the streets. Teach them the value of hard work. Teach them honesty and integrity. Love them before it's too late. Stop the blame game and let's all be the village that raises our children. A message from the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Violence Prevention and Enforcement Unit.
A man convicted of sexually assaulting a minor has been sentenced to over a year in prison following his guilty plea in court on Tuesday. Shane Anthony Smith, aged 38 and originally from Mango Creek, appeared before the court to face sentencing for an incident involving a 12-year-old boy earlier this year. The court was informed that on May 13, 2026, Smith took advantage of the sleeping child by fondling him, having deceived the boy beforehand. Initially, Smith entered a plea of not guilty when charged, but he changed his plea to guilty on May 12, 2026, just before his trial was scheduled to commence. Subsequently, he was remanded to Belize Central Prison to await sentencing. During the proceedings, the senior magistrate established an initial sentencing range of 3 years. She considered a victim impact statement prepared by the Human Services Department, which highlighted the profound emotional trauma the young boy experienced. Although the child was not required to testify due to Smith's guilty plea, the magistrate noted that the assault had left him deeply scarred, anxious, and suffering from trauma. Classifying the offense as a Category 2 crime, the magistrate underscored the gravity of Smith's action. She emphasized that, as an adult over 30, he was fully aware of the wrongfulness of his conduct and had betrayed the trust placed in him. The court also observed that there was evidence of planning involved in the commission of the offense. Several deductions were applied to reduce the initial sentence. The magistrate subtracted 6 months from the 3-year starting point because the assault did not involve physical violence and because this was Smith's first conviction for a sexual offense. This adjustment brought the sentence down to 2 years and 6 months. Additionally, Smith received an 8-month reduction equivalent to 1/3 of the sentence for his early guilty plea, resulting in a final term of 1 year and 4 months. Moreover, the court deducted 56 days that Smith had already spent on remand since his plea, leaving him with a remaining sentence of 1 year, 2 months, and 7 days. As he left the courtroom, an emotional Smith turned to apologize directly to the victim's mother, who was present. He expressed remorse and asked for her forgiveness, revealing that he had struggled with suicidal thoughts during his time in custody due to the guilt of his actions. Friends, family, and colleagues of the late Dr. Jair Osorio have announced the results of a recent fundraising campaign organized to help offset the medical expenses incurred during his illness. Earlier this month, members of the Rotary Club of Orange Walk, alongside relatives and friends, launched a fundraising drive with the goal of raising $10,000 to assist with Dr. Osorio's mounting medical bills. Sadly, Dr. Osorio passed away after suffering complications from his illness before the campaign concluded. Today, organizers reported that the fundraiser collected just under the $10,000 target. The proceeds will now be handed over to Dr. Osorio's family, who continue to face significant medical expenses following his passing.
We did the radio/telethon. We had tacos for sale, water, soft drinks, and even burgers. And so thankfully, we were able to raise approximately $9,239. And so we fell a bit short, below the $10,000 mark, but really we couldn't have done it without the help and the assistance of the community, of course, and all the volunteers who were helping behind the scenes. And so it wasn't the outcome that we wanted to in terms of his health and his situation after the fact, but the bills remain, and so now our focus is really on assisting the family where we could.
Although the initial fundraiser has ended, supporters say their efforts will continue. In collaboration with the local business community, a fundraising raffle remains scheduled for July 25th. Members of the public are still encouraged to purchase raffle tickets, as every contribution will help ease the financial burden on Dr. Osorio's grieving family.
A raffle, we were very lucky and fortunate that we had the assistance of the business community and the community in general, the Indian community, who helped us to get several prizes, a washing machine, a stove, air fryers. We have 10 wonderful prizes. And so it is, again, having in mind that the family has now been left with medical expenses and, other expenses, funeral expenses and all of that, then we still want to go ahead to do the raffle and, to be able to help ease some of that burden.
Organizers describe Dr. Osorio as a pillar of the Orange Walk community whose years of dedicated service touched countless lives. They say the continued support from residents is a testament to the respect, gratitude, and admiration the community holds for his legacy. The Rotary Club of Orange Walk is once again investing in the future of young Belizeans through its annual scholarship program, and applications are now open for students seeking financial assistance for the upcoming academic year. Speaking today, the club's vice president shared details about the initiative, which provides academic scholarships to deserving students pursuing both high school and tertiary education. The program is aimed at easing the financial burden on families while encouraging students to continue their academic journey. Following last year's successful scholarship drive, the Rotary Club hopes to support even more students this year by expanding the program's reach. Eligible applicants are encouraged to submit their applications for an opportunity to receive financial assistance.
The student grants that we have every year, the scholarships, last year we had extended it to sixth form students, and so It's both high school and tertiary level, right? Be it sixth form or university students, they will be able to apply as with the previous year. And of course, these monies were gotten from the Golden Gala for Education, which we held last year in November, right? And so we were able to raise a substantial amount of funds there. And so this year, we're definitely looking to either give back in scholarships the $10,000, at least meet that threshold that we had last year, and actually potentially even surpass that, right? And so that's still in the works and in the pipeline. But definitely students should follow our social media pages and look out for that to see how they'll be able to apply.
The Rotary Club says education remains one of its key areas of service and continues to encourage students to take advantage of the opportunity as it works to help build a brighter future for the community. Belize joined fellow Caribbean nations this week in shaping the region's future during the 51st regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community held in St. Lucia from July 5th to the 8th. The high-level gathering focused on some of the Caribbean's most pressing challenges, including regional integration, climate change, security, and the rising cost of living. Prime Minister John Briceño was represented at the summit by Attorney General Anthony Sylvester, who headed Belize's delegation and participation in discussions aimed at strengthening cooperation across the Caribbean. Throughout the four-day meeting, CARICOM leaders tackled a broad range of issues affecting member states. Key discussions centered on advancing the CARICOM single market and economy, securing climate financing, improving food and nutrition security, strengthening public health preparedness, governance, reparations, border matters, and the ongoing situations in Haiti and Cuba. Leaders also welcomed French Guiana as CARICOM's 8th associate member, marking another step in expanding regional partnerships. During the annual Heads of Government retreat, leaders turned their attention to growing concerns over crime, public security, and the increasing financial pressures facing Caribbean households. They also reviewed the process for reopening the CARICOM Secretary General and agreed to seek an advisory opinion from the Caribbean Court of Justice to clarify legal questions surrounding future appointments. Belize used the regional forum to reinforce its commitment to closer Caribbean integration while advocating for stronger climate resilience and coordinated action to address the unique challenges confronting small island developing states. Attorney General Sylvester also briefed regional counterparts on developments in Belize, Guatemala relations, and other national priorities. Beyond the formal sessions, Belize engaged in a series of bilateral meetings with representatives from St. Lucia, Cuba, the Republic of Korea, and Australia. Those discussions explored opportunities for greater collaboration on climate change, sargasso management, trade, technical cooperation, preparations for COP31, and partnerships in international forums. The summit concluded with Caribbean leaders reaffirming their commitment to collective action, emphasizing that regional cooperation remains essential to addressing shared economic, environmental, and security challenges while building a more resilient and sustainable Caribbean. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
It is a distinct honor to be here in Belize for the launch of the Caribbean Development Bank's Basic Needs Trust Fund 11 program, BNTF 11. For more than 4 decades, BNTF has stood as one of the bank's most visible and impactful instruments for community-based poverty reduction. Here in Belize, the legacy is clear. Over the past 25 years, BNTF has completed 79 sub-projects in vulnerable communities at an estimated cost of $23.79 million United States dollars. Through BNTF 11, we have begun a new cycle of investments. This investment of more than $5.2 million United States dollars represents far more than approved financing. It represents a renewed commitment.
BNTF has supported transformative investments in education, water and sanitation, community infrastructure, livelihoods, and social development. Through BNTF 11, we have an opportunity to build on that legacy by ensuring that our investments respond directly to the needs of our people, particularly the most vulnerable among us.
The new school building has made a huge difference for me and my classmates.
The improvement to our school have made our learning environment cleaner, safer, and more comfortable. Thank you to the Caribbean Development Bank, with the Social Investment Fund, the government, and everyone else who helped.
No one must be left behind. Not that child attending school in rural Toledo, not the farmer in Orange Rock, not the family in Corozal, not the communities that continue to face challenges accessing basic services.
At the beginning, it was a bit challenging because it sounded so good and so promising that I think people were reluctant in embracing the idea. But after 2 years in this NHI program, the perception of people and the usage of people for the services that we offer is very much appreciated. And the people are using all the services that we have. And our population has grown a lot. We actually have registered, which by the way I have to mention this, we never expected to grow this fast. We are at 12,000 and plus registered patients with us right now. And the numbers are growing on a daily basis, I would say. For the general physicians and the specialists that include the gynecologists, the pediatrician and the internist. And now we have a nutritionist, it's $2, which is very accessible to people. And when it comes to the laboratory or the images, it's just a 10% cost that they pay for the whole service that is offered. If we have a healthy community, then I would say that the whole country itself is going to benefit from it, because a healthy community is going to be successful economically as a whole. That is my vision of the NHI. Its service, its purpose.
Belize's judicial system is set to take another significant step towards strengthening protection of children and vulnerable persons as judicial officers from across the country gathered this week for a specialized 2-day training focused on child-centered justice, trafficking in persons, restorative justice, and youth diversion. The initiative is being organized by the Ministry of Human Development, Family Support, and Gender Affairs in collaboration with the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Council and the Child Justice Committee, with support from the Judicial Education Institute of the Senior Courts of Belize. The training team, the Promoting Child-Centered Justice, a judicial training on trafficking in persons, restorative justice, and diversion, will be held on Thursday, July 9th and Friday, July 10th, 2026. The program is designed to deepen judicial knowledge of trafficking in persons and Belize's legal framework while equipping judicial officers with practical skills to implement restorative justice practices and diversion measures for young offenders where appropriate. Participants will also explore strategies to ensure that children's rights and best interests remain at the center of judicial decision-making. Judges of the High Court, magistrates, and registrars have been invited to participate in the training as part of the judiciary's ongoing commitment to professional development and improving the delivery of justice. To facilitate full participation, Chief Justice Blenman has declared July 9 and July 10, 2026 as dies none for the High Court, Magistrates Court, and Family Court across Belize, allowing judicial officers to attend the training without disrupting court operations. Belize has joined the regional humanitarian effort to assist Venezuela following the recent devastating earthquakes, contributing 3 containers of emergency relief supplies as part of a larger CARICOM shipment. The relief mission officially got underway on July 7, 2026, when a vessel departed from Guyana carrying a total of 88 containers filled with humanitarian aid from CARICOM member states. Belize's contribution formed part of the regional response aimed at delivering much-needed assistance to affected communities in Venezuela. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs reaffirmed Belize's support for Venezuela during this difficult time. Belize stands in solidarity with the government and people of Venezuela as regional humanitarian assistance begins its journey to communities affected by the recent earthquakes, the ministry stated. Belize's High Commissioner to Guyana, Gail Miller Garnett, was present at the port of Georgetown for the departure of the relief vessel, joining Guyana's Prime Minister, retired Brigadier Mark Phillips, for a commemorative photo marking the occasion. The government of Belize also expresses gratitude to the government of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana for spearheading CARICOM's coordinated humanitarian response and overseeing the shipment of relief supplies destined for Venezuela. Additionally, Belize recognized the efforts of its High Commission in Georgetown under the leadership of High Commissioner Garnett for coordinating the country's relief contribution and working closely with Guyanese officials to ensure the prompt dispatch of Belize's 3 containers of humanitarian aid. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, July 9th, here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.